Welcome to Buzzn The Tower, a podcast dedicated to the movies of the 1980s
and
the 1990s. I'm Mo Shapiro, and I'm here with Max Tricky Dick Sanders.
I am not a crook.
And wow, we are live on video. How do you feel about that, bud?
Robbery.
You can take the mask off.
Again? Okay.
Because I can't hear a damn word you're saying.
Oh. Halloween masks are good ideas for like 3 minutes, and then you get sweaty, you can't see.
When we do, oh my God, Tarantino's movie,
Pulp Fiction?
when we do Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
We're going to start the episode off with you in the GIMP mask. So good.
Yeah.
All right, Max. Well, look, this is it. This is the new era of Buzzn The Tower.
People can see us.
For the last 3 years, we have been a podcast dedicated to the movies of the 1980s, and today we expand our reach both into video and the movies of the 1990s.
It's very exciting stuff.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. Big shout out to our friends over at 80stees.com. I've got my Johnny Utah shirt, and the lovely Tricky Dick Nixon mask was compliments of their incredible store. If you have a love for 80s movies and 90s movies, don't be fooled by the name of their website. It's just good search engine optimization. 80s Tees, that's 80stees.com. Swing by the store. You can pick up everything from your favorite bands and movies and pop culture from the 80s, 90s, and I believe even the 2000s, if that's a real thing.
What's your favorite shirt you got from them?
Oh, Miyagi Dojo.
That's really good.
My Miyagi Do with the bonsai tree and everything.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite one. What about you?
Mr. DNA, the Jurassic Park.
Shh, that's a secret.
Oh,
We
okay.
haven't released that
Sorry.
yet. Release me. Is Independence Day is 96? Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
Welcome to Earth.
the funny part about our show, and
Yeah.
I've been for the last 3 years, dude.
Yeah.
We've been doing this 3 years. So excited about all of the 80s movies that we do. But I got to tell you, like, the catalog of the 90s movies, as we were just talking in pre-show,
Yeah.
it's incredible. Like, there are so many good movies.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, you in particular.
Yeah.
Well, all credit to you. The majority of what you did for the last 3 years was on the fly, learn and regurgitate.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, you introduced yourself
Yeah.
to an entire genre of film that you had previously had very little exposure to.
It was the only way I get on the show.
If you didn't even know, people need to know that the genesis of this show was that you had never seen the movie Predator.
Yep.
That's incredible to me.
I know. I'd only seen 35 80s movies when we started this.
And now what's your number up to?
592.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. So as we jump into Point Break, which for 3 years we've been talking about doing Point Break.
It's like, how is this not an 80s movie?
It is an 80s movie in one regard.
it's
It was
not.
shot in 89.
That doesn't count.
I know, but it's got the feel and it's got my plums.
Yeah. Lori Petty is very 80s.
Yeah, I met her.
No way.
When I lived in California, I went to a bar one night and she was sitting at that bar and
Did you go for it?
She was super cool. And it was
Did you take a
interesting.
swing?
No, not at all.
What?
I was super intimidated by her, and I think I just watched Tank Girl like a year earlier, and which is on its
Terrible
own right
movie.
a terrible movie. But like I just like, that's Lori Petty for sure. She's super nice. I think I don't remember if I even asked for an autograph. This is 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I lived in LA. Was it 25? Yeah, it was about 25 years ago. Max, I want before we jump into Point Break, which of course we're going to do. Oh, also YouTube. For our listeners, because this will come out like normal, but for our faithful listeners, go to YouTube and absolutely subscribe to our YouTube channel, because you can watch and listen to our podcast like normal, but now you get to see our beautiful faces.
Should we wave to the camera?
Hey,
Hi.
hey.
Is that the right one? Or?
Well, you got camera.
Oh my God,
camera
there's so
1,
many? Seriously?
Camera 2, camera 3.
I don't even know what's going on.
There's 2 cameras on you at any time.
That's terrifying.
Assume you're in a grocery store. Just don't steal anything.
I used to steal from grocery stores all the time.
Every single time you tell me that you used to do something bad, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Like if
Filet
you told me I used to
mignon,
kick puppies,
2
I'd be
cent
like,
peanuts.
Oh my God, unbelievable. I'm going to start off with a very hot take. And I think you'll appreciate this. So
Patrick Swayze,
follow
not
me.
great in
I'm
this
going to
movie.
need you to not do that.
Sorry.
My New Year's resolution is to be nice to you, and I need yours is to not be a stammering buffoon.
I didn't agree to that.
I know. I made promises to other people. You also can't rehash your jokes 100 times. I'll murder you. You're like, I don't have anything to say then.
Go on.
Go on. Point Break is to my feel of 90s movies what Predator is to my feel of 80s movies. If for me, I can't speak on behalf of the rest of the world, as a defining action film. I don't want to take it to the whole genre of like all film, because some people, they don't dig action films. Predator is the definition of 80s action. Point Break is the definition of 90s action. Now, here's the monkey wrench that I throw into this. the highest grossing films in the 90s that were action films almost all have Schwarzenegger in them.
Terminator 2.
Total Recall.
The Matrix.
No. Well, hold on. Not Total Recall. True Lies.
Yep.
There's a bunch of stuff.
Eraser.
If you can peel that back, in the 80s, there just simply aren't as many movies like The Matrix, Speed, Point Break. I know.
Yeah.
I know all of that. The ones I'm naming have Keanu Reeves, but there was a period of time in the 90s where this less muscular, slender, handsome thinking man's, I can't believe I'm calling Keanu Reeves thinking man, but that was more what you had in the 90s, whereas in the 80s it was like Stallone and Schwarzenegger and Dolph Lundgren.
Seagal to a lesser extent.
It was almost cartoon characterish in the 80s, and in the 90s it was more like alternative. You know? And to me, Point Break is the beginning and end. The same way, again, Predator didn't come out in 1980, it came out in 87.
Yeah.
So
with RoboCop and all that good stuff.
Right. So I'm not making the case that it like set the tone. I'm just saying when I think of 80s action film, I think of Predator.
Yeah.
When I think of 90s action film, where's your head go right away?
To me, Terminator 2.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good
Do you know
one.
what? You want to hear something crazy? Terminator 2 came out 1 week after this. You could see them as a double feature.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you though, when you think of Terminator 2, despite it being unquestionably an action film, isn't there that little rub of sci-fi? Aren't you like this
big
is
old rub.
Yeah. So for me, like pure action film, I see that defeats my Predator argument because Predator is totally sci-fi too. God bless America.
Well, no, it's like Fast and Furious in 2000s kind of thing, which was a dead rip.
Whoa, easy.
Sorry.
You're getting into some of the things I have to talk about today. All right, so Max, as always, I will tell anyone new to the show, subscribe, leave a review, check out our YouTube page as well, push that to your friends and family. And
also,
such
Spotify,
and
it's video too.
will we have that up and running by this episode?
Maybe. I don't know technology.
No, we're going to have to let that one sit on Mo's shoulders.
Yeah.
Also, a shout out to Bradley Coster, who is our definitive answer to all the questions, except you don't know his name. Remember last episode? You forgot his name.
Embarrassing.
It was very embarrassing. He will be doing all of our video editing. This is in part when we tell you to join our Patreon. That's why, because Coster's not cheap. I mean, he is $2,000 an hour.
Really?
I meant to tell you.
Him and Julia Roberts and Pretty Woman should get together.
Yes, absolutely.
You know she was making like $10 an hour after he paid her?
That's incredible. So big shout out to Coster, who's doing all of our video work and editing and all that fun stuff. But that being said, patreon.com/Buzzn The Tower. That's how you can support the show so we can continue to pump out 90s content.
By the way, Jen Bueller asked, when are we doing the next Patreon thing?
That's a great call.
Yeah. Hot pressure on you.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Anyone? Not tomorrow, but soon.
Yeah.
Very soon. Today we're talking social media at Buzzn The Tower is our handle. Check out our TikTok. You'll love it. All of our social media channels, with TikTok in particular. And BuzzNTheTower.com, our website. Pick up some swag for the new year. Max, Happy New Year, and let's talk about
Happy New Year.
Point Break.
This movie was 34 years ago today.
You're 34 years ago today. What do you think of that?
Wait, 33 actually.
In Los Angeles, California, a gang of bank robbers call themselves the ex-presidents. They commit their crimes while wearing masks of ex-president Reagan, Carter, Nixon, and Johnson. The FBI believes that the members of a gang could be surfers and send young agent Johnny Utah undercover at the beach to mix with the surfers and gather information. Utah meets surfer Bodhi and gets drawn into the lifestyle of his new friend.
What's the coolest thing anyone can ever do?
Surfing.
No, it's bank robbing.
Yeah. Then surfing?
Yes. Second is surfing.
Yeah.
But bank robbing, as a guy, do you ever walk into a bank, you're like, how could I case this place?
As a guy.
I don't know. There's just something about it. It's like, one, it's the masculinity and toughness of taking down a bank. And two, it's like free money. And that just...
You do love free money.
Yeah.
Directed by Catherine Bigelow, Hurt Locker, also married to Michael Bay.
Nope. James Cameron.
James Cameron, thank you. Michael Bay, James Cameron, same thing. At the time that this was made, her and James Cameron did the rewrite of the script.
Yep.
So that's a nice little in-house treat to have. And written by Rick King and Peter Liff, and starring, oh man, all the stars. Patrick Swayze as Bodhi, Keanu Reeves as Johnny Utah, Gary Busey as Pappas, Lori Petty as Tyler. I love, by the way, you know my friend Pappas, right?
Yeah.
The degenerate.
Bill Pappas.
Yeah. Not his whole name out there. That's great. But I love that they both have the same name.
They're both degenerates.
John C. McGinley as John McGinley. Just kidding. As
dumb,
Ben Hart.
and full of yummy yogurt.
Oh,
Man
Max,
yogurt.
Let's not have that ever again.
But
James LaGrosse as Roach. John Philbin as Nathaniel. I'm giving you these names because later it's kind of pertinent to what's going on. Let me drop.
Pertinent.
Yeah. You like that word?
I do.
All right. Now let me drop to this one. Anthony Kiedis is Tone.
Yeah.
I love seeing the Red Hot Chili Peppers crop up in this movie. And Max, I know in a previous episode we talked about this, but probably the single most important role ever in the entire movie is
Naked
of
Stabby
course,
Chick?
Naked Stabby Chick. You may remember a movie called Roadhouse.
Yes.
Do you recall that film?
I do.
I'm glad you recall that film. In that film, there was a young woman who played what's his face's girlfriend?
Wesley.
Your recall on things is better than mine. Your total recall is better than
I
mine.
got more time on my hands.
Yeah,
You got
do
3
have-
kids.
That's also true. This young, beautiful woman was dating the antagonist, Wesley, and she
Was getting beaten
She
up.
got roughed up a little bit.
Doing
she
aerobics
also-
with a black eye.
She also took her clothes and top off at the bar.
She did. And Swayze was just all cool about it.
He was
Didn't
super cool about
Didn't
it.
even look at her. He was like,
And
come on, get out of here.
fast forward to a little movie called Point Break. There is a scene in this movie where Utah is having his first bust. No pun intended.
It's going badly.
Going very poorly. He overslept because he made love to sweet Lord Petty on the beach.
And there's a lawnmower incident.
There's all types of things going on. And when he finally breaks into the house, there is a beautiful young woman in the shower who is butt naked, who attacks Johnny Utah. And Max, the name of that actress is...
Denise, what's her name?
I need you to look it up, Max. Give me the name.
No, I have it.
Move quickly.
It's Denise something.
Denise something.
No, Julie Michaels.
Julie Michaels. There is no Denise. Julie Michaels.
She's Denise in Roadhouse.
There you go.
Oh, by the way, do you know what her name in this movie is?
I don't. Is it
Take a guess.
shower chick?
You'll never get it.
I'm not going to guess.
It's Freight Train.
Oh, that's amazing.
Can you imagine dating a hot blonde surfer chick named Freight Train?
Yeah.
Mom, Dad.
Mom, I want you to meet Freight Train. We'll call her Freight for short.
FT.
So that I think of all of the cameos, so to speak, that pop up in movies, cameo is not even the right word, but this blows my mind. I
The
just love
random
it.
kind of like 15th lead.
I love that there are 2 people on Earth that were in Roadhouse and Point Break: Patrick Swayze and not Denise.
Oh my God. I'm trying to think if there's anybody
I'm
else.
calling her not Denise.
Yeah.
Freight Train.
Freight Train.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good old Freight Train. Max, there are so many facts about this movie. I don't know where to start. I also, in general, wouldn't mind going through the entire movie with you, but we'll have to kind of navigate how we want to do that.
I have a question though. Who's cooler? Is it Dalton or is it Bodhi?
Bodhi. Unquestionable.
Bodhi's cooler?
Bodhi's cooler.
Dalton's pretty cool, man.
He is. Bodhi's cooler.
They're both spiritual.
Because Bodhi's a bad guy. Bad guy edge always gets you there.
I mean, Dalton's ripping out throats.
Chicks dig scars.
He's got so many scars.
Chicks dig scars.
Dalton has more scars.
I was referencing
The
the movie,
Replacements, I know.
Replacements,
Yeah, I know.
The only other movie where Keanu Reeves plays an Ohio State quarterback, which we'll talk about in a minute.
So I've actually accepted this as because he's bad at his job as an FBI agent and he's not a great quarterback in the Replacements. Yeah, thank you.
Look, see, you were able to do that without taking 6 minutes of break time.
Thank you.
We got it. All right. Because we're having a good time.
Because he's an Ohio State quarterback and he sucks.
So we're jumping around. This is what we do on the show. So let me say this. I think everyone who's listening to this episode has seen the movie Point Break. But as a refresher, Johnny Utah in this movie, I think he's playing a 25-year-old or 24-year-old. Okay.
Correct. He's out of law school.
Yeah, he's out of law school, and he's got to be, well, he's not just out of law school. He's got to be out of the academy. The beginning of the movie, he's at the FBI academy going through the training montage.
Yeah, I don't know how long. I mean, Feds makes us think it's like 6 months.
Well, if we base everything on Feds, then
We should.
We should. Let's assume that he blows his knee out. It's got to be his junior year.
Bent backwards.
So he's talking about going pro. So
Yeah.
you find out in the storyline of this movie that Johnny Utah is an ex-Ohio State
Boo.
quarterback. I know. There's only 2 football players that I like from Ohio State: Chris Spielman and Johnny Utah. That's it.
Yeah.
But he gets his leg bent backwards. I'm assuming he was a junior, or either a sophomore or a junior, because he was going pro the following year, and he didn't go pro because he bent his leg back.
Mhm.
So that puts him at about 19 or 20 when he stops playing football, goes into law school. Law school is
2 years.
2 years. That puts him at 22, 2 years in the academy, 24.
Sure. He's
So,
25 in the movie.
25 in the movie. He comes into this incredible opportunity to be a part of bank robbery in Los Angeles,
Which is the number one
hub.
Yeah.
The hub of it.
Which is interesting. They always do this. The town, Watertown, was the number one bank robbery place in like the early 2000s too. So it's like,
is this true, or you're just saying in movies they just do this?
It is true because a producer read this in a newspaper, like, oh, LA is the bank capital of the world, and he's watching surfing. He's like, what if I combine the two?
Which is wild. Wasn't he like taking a nap on the beach?
Yep.
So also interestingly enough, I read that as well.
Yeah.
That's how he came up with the idea. But it was originally supposed to be, I just say originally 6 times, skateboarders.
Yeah. I mean, that's way less cool.
Yeah, that wouldn't have felt as good. That would have felt more Citizens on Patrol, Police Academy 4 to me.
David Spade gets on his bike.
And Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk was in that too, don't forget.
That'd be cool.
A little bit. The beginning of this movie, I romanticize this movie because there are elements of this movie that I think are unique, right?
Well, it's the most highbrow, low action movie of all time.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even get into like the blood and guts of this movie until 2/3 of the way when you start getting people shot, killed, punched in the face, blood everywhere.
You don't meet Bodhi till 23 minutes in.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. The beginning of this movie, the juxtaposition between the
Surfing?
FBI Academy and the surfing and that the score of this movie, that almost symphony type music that's played slow with the rain dropping and Utah's got gum and he's chewing the gum.
100%.
100%. Good job.
And do you
no, 100% Utah. Let's do it right. 100% Utah. Good job.
At the end, they mirror it too because at the end it's raining when they're on the
Bondi Beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Bells Beach, not Bondi.
And and Bodhi's surfing and Utah's being an FBI agent.
Vaya con Dios.
Yeah. He's not coming back.
Oh man, Max.
How pissed would you be as an Australian cop? It's like, come on.
One Australian cop seemed very pissed off. He was yelling.
I would be too.
You'd be pissed about anything.
You think it's okay that he let him ride the wave?
Yeah, you know, things were different in the 90s. People got away with things differently. So you see the surfers, and then you basically cut right to Keanu Reeves, Johnny Utah, arriving in Los Angeles and meeting his new coworkers. Harp is John C. McGinley, who Scrubs. He's incredible.
Dr. Cox.
Yeah, Dr. Cox. Look at you, did your homework.
I love Dr. Cox.
He's great. This is my favorite role of his, hands down, all time, no questions asked.
Oh my God, he's so good in Seven as the SWAT leader.
No, he's the best. This is his absolute best.
Young, dumb. That's like the best line ever.
Not just that,
Blue
but
Flame Special.
How prickly he is.
Yeah.
And then Utah, just like, you know, I want my men in shape. He's like, I take the skin off of chicken.
And then he eats the donut.
And then he eats the donut. Love these. I used to give them 2 at a time. They get jammed right here.
There's an a-hole shortage in our in LA. It's like not so far.
Yeah, the blue flames. I also love these terms like blue flames. Like clearly they were doing research with like, you know, FBI people, and they were learning these terms like blue flame special from Quantico.
I'm blown away about how well this script is written for two people that didn't really write anything prolific afterwards.
So in addition to the script part of it, there's something else that I think is great about this movie, and it goes to my little like nerdiness of things. They did things that you wouldn't see in action films and that we take for granted that happen all the time. So there's two in particular. One in the part of the movie we're talking about, it's the walk and talk shooting. So West Wing is famous for doing this.
I was listening to West Wing on the way here.
Yeah. So like, you know how West Wing would do they're all walking together and the camera is moving with them. So when Johnny first meets McGinley, Harp. When Johnny first meets Harp and he's doing the walk through the FBI thing, like that the grittiness to that shot is incredible. And that he's moving with them. That's that walk and talk. And you also, and we'll get into more detail, but the chase scene when he's going after Bodhi, and it almost feels like the music video Sabotage.
Yeah, cameras bouncing kind of thing with them.
That gyroscope they had on there.
It's a pogo stick.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah.
And you hadn't seen a lot of stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
The other thing too, Max, and I thought, and you probably have this, but these are just kind of like notes that I made when I was watching the movie, which, by the way, talk about like how you and I have the best job in the world.
Yeah.
I just got to watch Point Break last week.
No, you just texted me a picture of the screen.
I
You're
know.
Like,
I love myself some Point Break. So the movie itself has so many incredible quotes and aspects to it.
And scenes.
If you even knew that you knew nothing, that would be something, but you don't.
Yeah.
I am going to use that. I heard that. I should be saying this to Max all the time. The thing that I was going to mention to you that I thought was kind of cool is when you first meet Pappas.
Yep. It's the bricks.
He's like, I've been in the field 22 years and
I don't know
what that's getting bricks.
And then he cannonballs in there.
I like when movies do this. I like when and maybe it's lazy on my part. I don't care. I like when you know right away who Utah is, who Harp is, and who Pappas is within minutes of meeting them.
But they actually confound expectations because usually it's the old guy teaching the new guy the ropes. And in this one, it's Keanu getting Pappas like hyped up.
Yeah.
He's like, do you feel alive?
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, the new guy is in his face.
You're right. I still though, even I mean, like his quotes are incredible, right?
Yeah.
Like I was taking shrapnel and caisson while you were crapping in your hands and rubbing it in your face. Like that's the most old guy to young. By the way,
That's probably just Busey to say.
this movie isn't perfect by any means. Like the emotional range that they go through from like oh, we got to work the drop car, and he's a little annoyed to like I was taking shrapnel and case. Like he literally goes nuts for no reason. But whatever, I don't care. I love this movie so much, I'm willing to ignore all the.
He didn't want to do the drop
blemishes.
car. He was frustrated.
Tell me that you don't feel this way, because I bet you do feel this way. The first time you see the dead presidents,
Yep.
doesn't it kind of feel to you like Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, when they all have their masks on and the way it was shot?
Yeah, I would say that's more serious. This is more just kind of like.
I agree.
Yeah.
Forget the subtext of the story.
Yeah.
Just the way it's shot.
Yeah.
Where they're like, it's that quick, again, that fast moving, quick cutting.
And it's focusing on the eyes and the intimidation.
Didn't
and
it
all.
kind of have that feel?
It's good. It's.
Would it be the craziest thing if we found out that Christopher Nolan was a little bit influenced by this? Because
I know
it
he
feels
was.
like it.
He was obsessed with heat. I know that.
Wait, because
Okay.
that's my next one I was going to give you. Doesn't this also feel like both the shootout scene?
Yeah.
So the last robbery when Utah's with them.
Yeah.
Doesn't that have a feel of heat to it?
The running, the chase, and all that.
All of it, right?
Yeah. So this is like the quick sketch version of those things. Those were more formulated out with a larger budget and all that kind of stuff.
Totally.
So I kind of like how they rob banks though, because this is how you should do it.
90 seconds.
Yeah.
In and out.
Can I ask you a question?
Never go to the vault.
Then why did he go to the vault at the end?
So I think that
Death wish or
not a death wish. I think that I'm sure there's books written on what this is analogous to.
Yeah.
But I think about when I was remember Dare, like don't do drugs, like the campaign
didn't work.
Yeah, I know. For you it didn't work. But I remember being in like middle school and being educated on why you should never do cocaine or why you should never do heroin. And one of the things that it stuck in my head when we were being educated on this is that
You're gonna rob banks?
Yeah, no, you're constantly chasing a high that you'll never get again.
Yeah.
And this idea that you're pushing yourself as hard as you can to get back to the level that you were and you could never get back there again. So I think what this reflects is all the other guys in Bodhi's crew, for them, it's like, we just want enough cash so we can surf.
Yeah.
For Bodhi, he doesn't care about, he wants the high.
Yeah.
He's chasing, what do they call the heroin? Chasing the dragon.
Chasing
the dragon.
Remember Randy playing the video game in South Park?
I couldn't remember. I thought it was maybe the white horse. Was there something saying about a white horse?
That is something about.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to call it Chasing the Dragon.
Yeah.
I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing is like for Bodhi, it's the high, right? So like once they know that Johnny Utah is an FBI agent,
His plan's insane.
the fact that their idea is no, we're not going to kill him or we're not going to cut ties and leave town. We're going to kidnap his girl and force him to skydive with us. And then we are going to take him back and rob a bank with him.
Yeah.
That, my friend, that is like, I'm going to lick this frog so I can hallucinate. That is crazy. Get your fix high.
Yeah, that's why this movie has some parallels to me to Fight Club, where you're kind of following the prolific weird leader that's kind of
a little
against
bit.
society kind
a
of thing.
little bit. I mean, Fight Club to me is such a unique film that exists in its own, stratosphere that I would have trouble. But again, I see
the Pied Piperness.
Yeah, I got you. That's fair enough. So I know that we have facts, but I feel like we're actually on a good pace going through the movie itself. So I want to go on. I want to go down a path. Can I go down a path? Can I get a little room to go down a path?
Can I finish?
Can I finish? Can I finish? No new taxes. I watched for the first time ever, and it was about a year ago, maybe a little bit less than a year ago. I watched The Fast and Furious.
For the first time?
For the first time ever.
What's
And
wrong with you?
why are you acting surprised? We actually talked about this on a previous episode.
I don't remember that.
It's okay.
I'm viscerally upset.
It's so true.
I watched it opening night and tried to drag race home.
So Trish, my wife, who hates everything that I love.
You needed to do that?
I had to do that. She is obsessed with these movies. She doesn't watch it. She doesn't listen to our show. She doesn't watch any of the movies we watch, but she loves these. And so I think we got like Peacock channel or something. I don't know. We got like a password to watch Peacock and they had every single one of them. And I'm like, all right, I just got to break the seal. I'm going to watch it. So I sat down and I watched Fast and Furious, and I was about halfway through the movie and I'm like, this is Point Break.
Yeah.
And Trish is like, what's Point Break? And I'm like, you'll
Divorce.
see under my divorce papers where it says, and
the
this
Point
is
Break clause.
well, you check a box on your divorce papers and it's like, like irreconcilable differences, like infidelity. Didn't know what Point Break was.
It's fair.
Yeah.
You get everything.
I'll kill her. No, I'm just kidding, honey. And why would you ever say that on a podcast where people can play it back?
You're on video now, so people can tell the truth in your eyes.
See me felting all over the place. Max, in watching this again I watched it 3 days ago. In watching it again, I went back and also rewatched The Fast and the Furious. For those of you who are fans of The Fast and the Furious, I am not mocking The Fast and the Furious. I actually think it's a testament to how great Point Break is, that the model for Point Break, if they had done what they talked about doing originally, which is they were going to do sequels for it,
Yeah.
they could have apparently done 10 Point Breaks and everybody would have been okay with it, because that's what they did with Fast and Furious. Can I just give you the equivalencies that exist? Because
Absolutely.
they're incredible. So
Can I name some? Or
I'm going to name all the ones I have. If I miss any, you please let me know.
okay.
Starting with the plot. The plot is not identical, but it's real close, right? So the main protagonist in both, one is FBI, the other's LAPD, but working with the FBI.
Undercover.
Goes on. Can I finish? Can I finish?
Yeah, sorry.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
I know you're excited to steal this from me. You tried doing it in the beginning already.
Go ahead.
Look at me. Let me see your eyes. I love you.
I got pretty
I'm
eyes.
not gonna get mad at you this year. Goes undercover to infiltrate a gang that's stealing stuff. The gang is involved in some extreme sport or activity. So obviously Fast and Furious, it's the car driving, Tokyo drift crap that they do. And
That's 3.
I'm sorry, whatever it is. And then Point Break, it's surfing. Initially suspects a rival gang of being the one that's creating the problem, only to find out that it's his new friends that it's the problem creators, so to speak. Gets very close with the gang that he's infiltrated, falls in love with one of the gang members. Lori Petty obviously is Bodhi's ex-girlfriend, whereas family, it's his little sister.
Yeah.
Ends up letting the gang leader go at the end of the movie. That's a big parallel. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen very often in these kind of movies. So I think that's a fairly big deal, right? And then he eventually leaves the FBI/LAPD, which I know it's implied at the end of Point Break when
It's very implied.
when he throws his badge down, but whatever.
He was
Who
terrible
knows?
at his job. He should have been arrested.
Well, he's still pretty young. I mean, you have to assume at that point it's only a year or two after the whole incident. So he's 27, 28.
It is wild that he went undercover and didn't change his name from a quarterback from Ohio
No,
State.
there's no internet back then.
Still.
Why? Because he's just out of law school.
People know,
it makes sense
they
to
knew
me.
who he was.
That's okay though. Why is that? There's no bad side to that because he played up on that's who he was.
I mean, if they find out something, they can kill your family.
Well,
That's a good point.
I guess I don't have an argument against that.
Boom.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
All right, both films shot in Los Angeles.
Yep.
The fights. So Bodhi breaks up the fight between Utah and War Child.
Back off, War
that happens.
Child. Seriously.
And then Dom breaks up the fight between Brian and Vince.
Yep.
Corona. They're both in both movies. They're drinking Corona.
That's a direct homage.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Via con Dios
Yeah.
is said in both movies.
Yep.
And that doesn't. Was it Gal Gadot who said it in Fast and Furious? Right?
Gail Gadot?
No. Who said it in?
I don't know. She's in like the 4th one.
I think it's in the 4th one that they say Via con
Oh, okay.
Dios.
Okay, then yeah.
Yeah.
Then Gail Gadot, yeah.
Yeah.
She's in it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I knew it was in one of them.
Sorry, you put pressure on me.
Sorry. I put pressure on myself. The tuna sandwich.
Yep.
Johnny Utah on wheat. And
Yeah.
then what's his face? What's the actor's name who passed away? Well, I can't think of his name right now.
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Hey.
He's like,
Yeah.
cut the crust off.
Yeah. Do you know what a Paul Walker shot is?
Don't say something inappropriate.
Okay.
Some people love him, for God's sake.
I love him too.
Just be nice, okay? Neptune's Net, the restaurant near Malibu, featured in both movies. In Point Break, it's where Johnny meets Tyler, and in The Fast and Furious, it's where Brian and Dom go for shrimp.
Yep.
So that's another one. One Job Too Many, that classic.
That's in every bank
that
robbery
is in
movie.
everyone, I have to admit. The Street Foot Chase, and then the Via con Dios. But that is, she does say it. I just thought that it was in the first one, but it's not. But
No,
that's fine.
she's not in the first one.
So Max, what else? Did I miss one? Any?
No.
One?
No.
All right.
Which one do you like better?
Oh, yeah, that's funny. That's cute.
I don't know. Fast and Furious is good.
You are asking me which movie I like better, Fast or Furious or Point Break. I just want you to marinate on that question for a second. I want you to really legitimately think, what do you think the answer to that question is?
Yes.
2024, be nice to Max. Be nice to Max, because we're having a good time. Hey.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
You done with your calming exercises?
Yeah,
or?
well, they're important for me. So what are you doing? Hey, number 9, man. How you doing? How you doing? Do you know who else is number 9?
Utah.
Matt Stafford.
Johnny Utah.
So is Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
He's going to have to play the Lions, who got robbed by the Packers in the playoffs.
How's it going to feel to lose to Matt Stafford?
Max, if you want the ultimate, you got to be willing to pay the ultimate price. It's not tragic to die doing what you love. Just
Losing to
remember
Matt
that.
Stafford?
It's going to kill me.
Yeah.
I only have a couple more things about the movie, and then we'll go into facts about the movie, which I haven't even touched yet. But I have to say, one scene that I find really funny is when they're playing, when they're night surfing.
Yeah.
Was it necessary to take a knife to the lighter fluid because it had a really nice top on it? I know this is kind of like a max point, but like I'm watching it and I'm like, this is the most unnecessary. I'm a bad tough guy move I've ever seen. Like, also, he has soaked himself in lighter fluid. Like, I'm nervous just squirting lighter fluid onto that, but whatever, that's fine.
Do you know that wasn't at night?
Yeah, it was not at night.
Yeah, they just filmed it and they darkened it up because it was too hard to do at night. You can actually, if you look at it, you can see the shadows of everybody.
It's to your earlier point about this being a unique action film. You can feel, I'm going to call it the feminine touch, right?
Yeah.
Because there is this
Sexist, but cool.
Well, I don't think it's sexist because I'm saying it in a positive way. The feminine touch of this movie is that you feel the development of the love interest, these moments. They're very beautifully shot scenes, the surfing scenes. There's a patience that I don't think Michael Bay would show otherwise, right? Or James Cameron.
I mean,
because she was married to James Cameron.
Animal Crackers on Liv Tyler. I felt that.
I don't want to miss a thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to go.
I felt their relationship.
It's
true.
That is the worst scene in an otherwise good movie. That is the worst scene I've ever seen. Ever.
Yeah, but you remember it.
Yeah.
But we're talking about it.
I was like, I think I took my high school girlfriend to go see that movie, and I was in that point in my life where that kind of stuff was like cool.
Did you cry at the end?
I might have.
Yeah,
I cry in everything. I almost cried watching Point Break again.
Really?
Just how much.
At what part?
Nothing emotional. I just love it. I was so excited.
No part in general.
No, I was just so excited. My eyes watered the whole time. I was so happy to watch it.
To that point, it's very important that you get the love connection because him jumping out of a plane with no parachute to grab Bodhi is the most. Would you do that for your kids?
No, for my kids, yes. Not for my wife.
Yeah,
no, not unless she started watching the podcast.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that scene. Is that the best scene in the movie?
The original skydiving scene, I think, is the best.
I don't know. I think
because
when he jumps,
the spiritual and like the connection that they know who each other, they know who they are, the FBI-ness and all.
Yeah.
And they're doing the backpack thing and messing around. Like, no, I got it. Are we gonna just sit here? Or, I mean, I just think the way they filmed that is so beautiful. Like, the first time you saw that, you're like, oh my God, they're skydiving now, and it's unbelievably shot.
Here's another question: if anybody out there has been skydiving, and you go with someone who knows what they're doing, like a trainer or a teacher. Every single person has to turn to you and say, Max, you're about to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. How do you feel about that?
It's really good.
Is that not like the go-to statement for anyone who skydives?
Or are we just going to sit here and J off?
Yeah. Or K off or elemental P off.
K off?
Yeah.
Chaos.
Chaos. Talk about practice. I love that Rosie, they says Rosie from Air Force One. They refer to the plane at the end as Air Force One.
Oh, yeah.
Presidents. That's something I just picked up.
Rosie's an animal.
Rosie is an animal. I couldn't do that. I think the scene where he jumped. So, you know what it reminded me of was 007, which is the one where they had the, oh man, was it License to Kill? I got a license to kill. Remember the beginning of the movie? There's the parachuting. Was that License to Kill?
No, that's the other Timothy Dalton one with ho, 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 I have a machine gun.
Oh, yeah. But that's not License to Kill?
No, that's the other one.
What is it called? The Living Daylights.
Yes. That's the one.
But I only know the song. I got a license to kill. So The Living Daylights has a similar, like, really cool parachuting scene, skydiving scene. But this takes the cake, right?
It does.
Like, is there anything better than this?
No.
From a skydiving in the air?
Which is strange. You think
20, 30 years later.
Because it's always a cool shot.
Yeah.
Has any other movie even tried it, really?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen movies that have skydiving stuff in it. This is just my favorite. Mostly because I love the characters in it. Okay, I only have two more things movie-wise, then we'll go to the facts. I know there's like a whole subgenre of, or what do they call it in Reddit? Subthread? Or what is it? The
subgenre.
Yeah, so whatever. Of people making fun of Keanu Reeves and his inability to act, which I stand by this. I think that's crap. Like, he's a great actor. He is, as Walken has his Walken-ness.
Yeah.
Keanu has his Keanu-ness. But there is one part at the end of the movie that to me I love, but it's so Keanu Reeves.
I know what it is.
I bet you know what it is.
Does he have handcuffs on?
No.
Okay.
It's when he throws the mask.
Yeah.
And throws the Reagan mask onto the sand, right? Because Bodhi's just sitting staring off at the big waves, and he goes, "Lose something, bruh." That sentence for me does it.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that is Bill S. Preston Esquire. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. That's Ted Theodore Logan. Shame on me.
You got to go down. It's the way.
What are you doing, man? I am an FBI agent.
Wild, isn't it?
A million times, dude.
Yeah.
A million times.
That was the most quotable thing of this movie, right?
I am an FBI agent.
Yeah.
Utah, give me two. is the most quotable scene in the entire. And by the way, that was all improv by Gary Busey.
Really?
And I'll throw something else out there too. Going back to the Fast and Furious, because I know you know this, but since you have no memory of things whatsoever, I want to repeat it. In Point Break, you got Pappas, Angelo Pappas, right?
Yeah.
Who is the mentor, partner, friend.
20 years on the force.
Yeah. In Fast and Furious, you've got a guy by the name of Sergeant Tanner.
Yeah, he's kind of an old fart.
Yeah. Do you know who that is, Max? Because here's the biggest.
He reminds me of the Beverly Hills Taggart guy.
No, here is the similarity, the single biggest similarity between the Fast and the Furious and Point Break. Gary Busey is a wild, ridiculous human being. Like there's only one Gary Busey in the world.
Well, there's Jake Busey.
Yeah, that's true. But Jake Busey's no Gary Busey. We would agree.
Close.
He's not Gary Busey. Do you know the only other person I know who's got that feel to him?
Who is it?
Oh, good.
Oh my God! Is it Ted
Ted
Levine?
Levine.
No way.
Ted Levine. Buffalo Bill
I
from
forgot
Silence
about
of the
that.
Lambs
Yeah.
is freaking Sergeant Tanner.
He's pretty mild in that movie,
He's
though.
super mild, but you can hear it creep out of his voice, like when they're like in the movie, he's like, oh, like he'll just like, and I can immediately tell it's Buffalo Bill. That's the biggest similarity between the two movies is Busey and Ted Levine.
I love that, actually.
I'd love to have a buddy cop movie with Busey and Ted Levine
Now?
today.
80s?
They're so good. All right, Max, let's talk about facts. What do you got? Talk to me about this movie.
Swayze was obsessed with skydiving, so much so that the studio had to put a cease and desist letter for him not to skydive anymore.
Yeah, 55 jumps in the whole movie.
So even on the days when they had his stunt double doing the skydiving, he would go skydiving on his own time, just as like an FU to the studio.
Oh my God.
So when he says adios, amigo, that's actually him skydiving.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can tell he's just an athletic dude. Like he's doing the spins and flips and all.
Dude, he's a thoroughbred.
Yeah.
None of them knew how to surf. So Lori Petty, Keanu Reeves, and Patrick Swayze didn't know how to surf. They headed to Kauai, Hawaii.
That's awesome.
And by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, that is where me and my entire family are going in March for our first big Shapiro family vacation.
Are you going to go to the sites?
No. But they didn't shoot stuff in Kauai.
Oh.
They just went there to train.
Maybe find the beach where they will like learn.
So Kauai is where Jurassic Park was shot, though.
Okay.
So I think I can go check out some of that. Max, you actually hit notes that sounded like the actual song. Oh man,
Mr. DNA's in
look
me.
at this guy. That's a great cut. I'm gonna put that on a soundboard. Mr. DNA's in me. Jesus Christ. That's incredible. I'm sorry. All right, this I know you love. This is some of your favorite stuff. The original title was Johnny Utah, which, by the way, I would be totally fine with it being called Johnny Utah. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I know what you're going to go with. Just hold on. You got your lips are moving. I know you want to say
No, just curious if it would have worked.
No, it would have worked for sure. Then they changed that to The Riders on the Storm.
Yeah, The Doors.
The Doors. But halfway through filming, while they were learning about surfing, they switched it to Point Break.
The first time you heard the name of the title, did you know what that meant?
No idea what it meant.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it meant until I saw the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, without question.
So they were concerned it didn't have enough to do with surfing with Johnny Utah. They kind of defeated the purpose. Point Break, no one really knew in 91. You couldn't look up on Google.
And yet it didn't matter.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
That poster is one of the great posters of all time.
It's really amazing.
It's Swayze on top, Keanu on the bottom, and kind of a wave like behind them. Yeah. And you're like, what is this?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, think about the audacity of this movie.
Yeah.
You know, Bigelow fought for Keanu Reeves to be Johnny Utah.
They did not want him.
And nobody wanted him because prior to that, all he was dramatic and comedy.
Yeah. It was Parenthood.
Art house and little art house films.
Parenthood, River's Edge.
Come on.
Youngblood.
There you go. Youngblood is what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
The ultimate bar trivia night question.
Yeah.
What two movies where Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze in together? People will be like Point Break, and then they'll freeze, and you got to remember Youngblood.
Thank God for sport for middle-aged white boys. Middleweight while he's...
That's all right. You got it. The best part about Youngblood is that Patrick Swayze was a really good football player who got a knee injury and went into acting. Keanu Reeves was a really good hockey player who got a knee injury and went into acting. And Point Break, Johnny Utah, really good football player, got a knee injury and went into bank robbing.
They call Keanu the Wall in high school.
I know. That's a great name. It's not as good as Freight Train, but it's a really good name. Second unit director and stunt coordinator Glenn Wilder held fight training sessions, if I could read, for the cast on the weekends because Catherine Bigelow didn't want anybody using stunt doubles for anything. Swayze was emphatic about stunt doubles. However, he did have a stunt double.
About not using them,
about not using them. However, he did use them in the chase scene where he's wearing the mask because he was shooting Ghost.
Yeah.
And that was the only scene, but everything else, all of them were like, yeah, we want to do our own fight scenes. We want to do our own fight coordinating.
Except one person.
Anthony Kiedis, who, because he refused to learn how to fight, they knocked him out cold in the first fight so that he wasn't a part of what was what is amazing.
He has a great scream when he gets shot in the foot.
Yeah, so that's great. Yeah. I'm sure you can do it. It's classic. What else do we have here? Keanu Reeves observed real FBI agents in LA. I do love when actors and actresses do this and they kind of learn how to do things. He also practiced.
Wouldn't you do that if you were an actor?
I totally would.
Yeah.
That's your life. Your life is just taking every little hobby that you ever wanted to have and like living it out as a dream. He also practiced with UCLA quarterback coaches to help with his football scenes.
So I wonder if Mark Harmon was playing at
I would love to figure out like what coaches.
UCLA.
That'd be a fun interview.
Wait, no, 91 was Troy Aikman the quarterback.
89.
Okay.
Remember, in 88 was probably when he was training with him.
Was Troy Aikman the quarterback of the UCLA?
Man, if only you had a machine that you could use to look these things up. Look at that! Because we're having a good time, and that gives me a second to take a sip of water while you're using your computer.
87 to 88. He might have thrown pigskin.
Well, remember he was there with the coaches, not the players.
Yeah, but maybe the players were around.
I'm not gonna say you're wrong.
Yeah,
we'll have to ask Troy Aikman. We'll have him on the show.
He seems cool.
Not a huge Aikman fan, but whatever. That's just
it's because it's the Cowboys who just beat you.
You're gosh darn right. You are gosh darn right.
Touchbacks in the end zone are a joke.
Oh, please stop. Please.
Do you like that rule or no?
I don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
Makes sense. There has to be a high consequence for fumbling out of the back of your end zone. So.
Oh, by the way, this movie gave me a good shower thought. If I had a band that I needed to name, I was thinking about the ex-presidents. I'd be Thrill Clinton and the Saxohose. Nothing?
When you had that thought, and you were like, I'm going to share that, was there part of you that thought that it would be received well?
3%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, just hear me out.
Yeah.
Unless you're at 75%, keep it to yourself.
That's not the show, though.
That's what I'd like the show to be.
It would be me silent the whole time.
But that's not true. 50%.
Yeah.
51%. A little bit more than half of you has to believe that what you're going to say is actually good.
Do you know what Bodhi means?
Tell me, what does Bodhi mean?
Did you know or no?
It's something with Buddhist, right?
Yeah, so Bodhisattva is the full name that it is. It means enlightened being who comes out of compassion, forgoes nirvana to save others.
Okay.
It's like wakefulness.
Wakefulness, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I kind of knew parts of that.
Bodhi's great. It's a great name for him. Do you think it's his real name or you think he took it on?
I don't know.
Probably took it on.
Yeah.
He doesn't mention his parents really.
No.
Yeah.
No. Are these
boy.
the types of questions that I just spoke to you about having a more of a 51%?
I thought you were excited about these.
About knowing about Bodhi's parents. About answering those questions.
You like making stories?
Why do you... No, am I not going to be mean? You're doing your best. He's doing his best. He's trying.
Not good enough.
You're doing your best. You're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you.
All right, go on to another fact.
The beach spot. This is the best fact in the world. You brought it up last week. It is the single greatest fact about Point Break.
Yep.
The beach spot where the football game is played is the same beach spot where the soccer game is played in The Karate Kid 1984.
Well, it's where he meets Allie.
I don't have a lot of room. I can't do the full crane kick.
You look like a T-Rex.
Yeah. Sweep the leg.
It's where he meets Allie.
Is that where he meets Allie? Is that where he meets Allie?
It's important.
I do think that the people don't know that the soccer scene on the beach in The Karate Kid is where he meets Allie.
I wanted to emphasize how much you love
Elizabeth. Does he meet Allie?
She does.
Does he meet Allie?
Yeah. Bodhi meets Allie and grooms her.
Oh, man. Jesus Christ. Totally redeem yourself.
Yeah.
Like a good grooming joke to get the morning started. Unbelievable.
So do you think they actually liked playing football like surfers? Surfers didn't seem like very...
Stop.
Okay.
You're doing one of those questions nobody cares about. That's all right. You're trying. You're doing your best.
Man.
I'm sorry. I'm not being that mean. I am being mean. It's going to be such a bad look on film because people are going to see the regret in my face when I'm mean to you, which I shouldn't even regret it. The film, this is incredible. If this ever happened to me, if I ever was lucky enough to be a part of this, it'd be the highlight of my life. The film inspired a piece of cult theater called Point Break Live. Do you know about this?
No.
You're missing out. In this, the role of Johnny Utah is played by an audience member. So it gets chosen by just random. Like they're all there. They pick a random audience member. The new Keanu reads all of his or her lines from cue cards during the duration of the show to capture the rawness of Keanu Reeves' performance, even though I can't even read the rest of this. It's so absurd. So you understand what happens. They
Yeah.
do a live show.
They pick someone out.
They pick someone out
Yeah.
with like no experience and have them read off cue cards.
Why
because-
can't I say how I feel?
Thank you. However, here's the best part. In 2013, Gary Busey attended a performance and joined them. And Lori Petty would also show up and participate as well.
So they were Keanu?
Yeah. No.
Oh, they were themselves in the role. I don't know. The whole point of it, I don't know if they remember their lines. I thought that you meant they were in the crowd and they got picked out.
Yeah. What?
Moving on.
Moving on. It's good. Live radio. Oh, man. I think you mentioned the pogo cam. So Catherine Bigelow used a stripped down 35 millimeter camera named Pogo Cam. The camera weighed about 8 pounds and it was on a gyro stabilizer borrowed from the Steadicam. A wire was looped through the camera, which gave James Murrow, who's their camera guy, the rough idea of the frame, and they were able to follow the actors at a breakneck pace.
Unbelievable.
It was
It's very cool.
very cool. Yes. James Cameron, I told you, helped rewrite the script with her, but uncredited. What other facts do you have? Because I'm ripping through. Oh, I got one more. The guy who played Gromit. I mentioned their names at the beginning. Bo Jesse Christopher played Gromit, and John Philbin played Nathaniel. Those guys were pro surfers that just happened
It's
to
really
like
cool.
acting on the side.
Yeah, it's like Tony Hawk and
they felt like
yeah.
the most reasonable like surfer dudes.
And your balls are like this big, man. Yeah.
Pretty sure we can't say balls, but that's fine.
Oh.
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? Forget it. Why not? New year. Let's have fun. 3 years. 3 years of doing the podcast and trying to work on you not saying things we can't say. And here we are.
So do you know who the studio
Just
wanted for
the
Johnny
two of
Utah?
us. A lot of people.
Well, no, who the main guy was.
Not Broderick.
It was
Broderick?
no, it was Johnny
Johnny
Depp.
Depp. Okay.
Which could have worked.
So I got Matthew Broderick was originally offered the role.
That's the worst idea on the face of the earth.
Ever.
Can you imagine him surfing?
Charlie Sheen, William Dafoe, and Val Kilmer.
So
Val, hold on your Sheen. Let me ask you a question. Could Val Kilmer have done it?
Is he too cool? Because like he should be Bodhi, right?
Could Val Kilmer have done Bodhi? That's a great question.
He could have done Bodhi. He's the only other guy that blonde, can sing, can dance, can do it all. Athletic.
Today, who could do Bodhi?
Zac Efron? Because you want to be
He's
him?
not spiritual enough. He's too pretty without the
Channing
spiritual.
Tatum? Too old at this point? Oh, I know who. Glenn Powell Jr.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, the guy from Top Gun.
Yeah,
Him and actually get him back together with Miles Teller. Miles Teller could have been
Utah.
Yeah,
Utah.
it works. Utah.
Mark Rosenstein, Johnny Utah. Roast beef sandwich.
Do you know there was references to Dirty Dancing in this movie?
Yes. When Bodhi sees Utah's surfboard, he says, I used to have an old 57 Chevy like that.
Yeah.
And that was what he had in
Dirty Dancing.
So this I thought was a nod to Roadhouse, but they mentioned something about going to eat at Patrick's Roadhouse. When you hear that, you're like, Patrick's Roadhouse. But there's actually a restaurant called Patrick's Roadhouse.
Just a coincidence.
Just a very big coincidence, I suppose. What else? Ridley Scott was the first choice to direct the movie. He instead did Thelma and Louise.
He could have killed
I didn't
this.
realize he did Thelma and Louise.
Really?
Yeah.
It's very out of his like realm. But it's his big 90s movie.
Do you know how many times the F word was said in this movie?
106?
105.
Dang.
You were close.
I was close.
Took 77 days to shoot.
That's a normal like movie set, isn't it? Or is that quick?
2 months? That feels super quick.
Okay, maybe it is.
Yeah.
Especially with all like the action and stuff.
All right.
But here's my favorite fact.
What's your favorite fact?
There was a scene in the movie that was cut. I don't know where it is or who has it. Elizabeth Berkley had a scene.
Oh, yeah. I did know about that, but it's not in
I'm so
there.
scared.
I know. Do you know that Via Con Dios was also said in Red Dawn?
Yeah, it's by the general, right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end. It's like the last thing said to Swayze before he dies.
Does he say it?
No, the general says it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
to
right.
him.
It was the last words spoken to Patrick Swayze's character, Jed, was Via Con Dios.
It's go with God, right?
Yeah.
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 They say it on that TV show in King of the Hill that they keep watching, the Hispanic one, where like a priest is killing everybody.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Vaya con Dios. It's like his big thing.
When I rewatched this and they did the drug bust and they had the undercover DEA guy, that's Tom Sizemore.
Yeah. Want to give my nerdiest fact right now?
Give me your nerdiest fact. What do you got?
The members of the ex-presidents are killed in chronological order of their presidency.
Ooh.
So you got Nixon, LBJ, Carter, Reagan.
Oh, man.
It's pretty good.
That is really good.
I think they planned that.
I think I mentioned that Utah Gimme Two was ad-libbed by
Was it so they had to like make meatball subs on the fly?
Well, they may have been going to get the meatball subs.
Okay, got it.
But Utah Get Me Too was ad-libbed by Busey.
Okay, that's fair.
That's probably more what happened.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Busey seems like a meatball guy. I couldn't believe Keanu got a tuna sub at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gross.
At 10 o'clock in the morning? I've eaten a tuna sandwich at
Well,
10
you
in
live
the morning.
dangerously.
To get the ultimate rush, you got to pay the ultimate price. It's not bad to die doing what you love. Having 2 meatball subs at 10 o'clock in the morning.
They are terrible cops, by the way.
You're a terrible cop. Max, do you have anything else on this movie?
Body count was 10.
That's not too bad.
No.
Not for an action thriller.
For someone who was so against violence as Bodhi was, it's kind of it's a bummer.
All right, let's do a recast. We kind of quasi did one, but if you had to recast, let's do Johnny Utah. If you had to recast Johnny Utah with someone else from the 90s.
90s, okay.
90s. And pick the movie in which you would pluck him from.
Okay.
And you can't pick Keanu Reeves from Speed.
I know. So small, like cop who's kind of coming along as a rookie. I weirdly like Chris Rock in Lethal Weapon 4. Is that weird?
Yeah, I'm not sure you understand the assignment, so I'll explain it again. You want to pick someone who would do as good of a job, if not a better job, in the role.
I got nervous.
And Chris Rock as Johnny Utah is unquestionably the worst answer you could give.
Oh, I would go
Richard Dreyfuss, Let It Ride?
No, Will Smith, Men in Black. Because he's like the rookie learning the stuff from Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, these are all terrible answers.
Tommy Lee Jones as Pappas would be good.
I want, give me Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill?
Yeah, Return of the Jedi.
That's 80s.
Return of the Jedi is 80s. Yeah,
it's 83.
Right. Give me Mark Hamill, Return of the Jedi.
That's the same thing.
Oh, right.
You can't.
How about Mark Hamill,
stop
Empire Strikes Back?
That's worse.
I want Mark Hamill.
I need him.
I want the knife.
So you want 45-year-old Mark Hamill as the rookie
as
cop.
a 25-year-old rookie cop, Johnny Utah.
Give me the joke.
Give me
Mark Hamill,
Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
You know, he probably could play Bodhi, actually.
No, he could not.
Well, he's all spiritual now.
You're not good with this. I'm sorry that we did it. And on that note, Max, we don't have a fan spotlight because you screwed it up. So that's always fun to start off our new podcast. We'll have to start those up again next week. And this concludes our first episode on video. I don't want to hear your excuses. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself.
Are we going to talk about the cast a little bit more or no?
Oh, yeah, we probably should do that too. All right, fine. Talk about the cast. What do you got?
Well, I was blown away by the writers because they really didn't do anything else. So Rich King...
Like I just literally tried to end the episode. And
yeah,
I'm back to life. No, go ahead.
Live. He did weird TV series stuff.
Disassemble.
So W. Peter Liff is the guy who actually like wrote this for $6,000, like the main script. Look up his picture online on IMDb.
I don't want to.
Okay, he just seems like a cool dude. He's got a cigar and a bandana.
Yeah.
So he wrote Patriot Games, pretty good.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Varsity Blues.
Oh man.
So that's it.
Playing football for West. Oh man, am I butchering this?
No pressure.
Playing
West Canton.
West Cayman. Playing West Cayman football might have been the opportunity of a lifetime for you, but I don't want your life.
Good one. Nailed it.
That took too long. Jerk. Don't disrespect me on the show.
Is this the best Swayze role? Because he goes on that run where it's Roadhouse,
Next of Kin,
Ghost, Next of Kin. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm sneaking.
It's terrible.
Can I create a distinction between what his best role is and what my favorite role is? Sure. This is my favorite role of him. I don't know that it's his best role.
Okay. What's his
Is
best?
that fair?
Yeah.
Ghost is probably his best role.
It's really good.
Ghost is really good.
Ghost is great.
Ghost is one of the best movies ever made.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it is good.
You can take your love with you.
Yeah.
They let you take it. I don't know why I'm doing the you have to take in the darkness. You take your love with you in the darkness.
It's the scariest representation of death I've ever seen.
Yeah.
With the shadows just get you and scream. Ah!
You don't like the screams.
No. But I think Swayze in this movie might be the coolest character of all time.
Yeah, Bodhi, that I will agree. So if you want to talk about Swayze's coolest character, no question.
This is
it's Point Break.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
it's the hair.
How about Dalton? I don't know. Dalton's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
And we argued this before, which one's like better, and I lean towards Bodhi. But when you're talking like pure cool, I don't know, man.
It's hard. It's amazing that
I'm totally contradicting my earlier statement.
Well, that they're both him is crazy.
Yeah, you got 3 rules.
Yeah.
Versus I don't know. Bodhi's
Keanu in real life is probably like him and Swayze probably nowadays would have been buddies if
God,
Swayze.
what a bummer that he died.
It is
man.
crazy.
He blames it on all the smoking he did.
60 cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
And he was a alcoholic.
Oh, I didn't know that part of it.
Bottle a day kind of guy.
No, that's a bummer, man. Swayze
Which-
was the best.
Talk about genetics that like
I know.
he never looked like
I
heavy.
know. Well, but I also heard, he probably got better as he got older, but I heard he was a little bit of a prick. What's her face from Dirty Dancing? Couldn't stand her.
Oh yeah, he's very intense about his stuff.
Yeah.
like
Whereas like Keanu, I have never in my entire life heard a bad word about Keanu Reeves.
there's not a single thing out there.
Not a single thing. Also, he might be a vampire and might be 600 years old.
Yeah,
You've seen that theory.
Yeah,
right?
I'm cool with that.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
He deserved it. Whatever he sold his soul to the devil, whatever he needed to do, I'm fine with it.
yeah, and he's been
Next.
through some stuff like motorcycle accidents and you know like people dying around him.
His sister, right? Or his wife? No. What happened? It was
His
some bad
girlfriend
stuff. His
Jennifer
girlfriend-
Stymie died in a car accident. His daughter passed.
Mm.
And also, River Phoenix was one of his best friends.
That's right.
And he was there at the Viper Room.
Ugh. All right, Max. I think we've well covered the show.
Okay.
All right. Well, don't say okay. Do you disagree? Got anything else you want to talk about?
Gary,
I don't wanna
Gary
get-
Busey, 6 feet tall, and he's a great drummer.
And thus we know we're done with the episode. Max, we've concluded our first 90s movie episode, also our first video. A reminder, please subscribe, follow, support the show, patreon.com/Buzzn The Tower. Big shout out to 80stees.com, our wonderful sponsor for these incredible shirts and masks. I'd like to get you a different mask every week. I want to take your face off.
We get to do that too.
We do get to do that.
Are you a Travolta man or a Cage boy?
I don't know, but that's a great question for that episode and not for me trying to wrap this one up, Max. So as usual, thank you so much for joining the show. I'm Mo Shapiro. He's Max Sanders, and that's Buzzn The Tower. No, I'm kidding. How do you want to end the show?
I'm begging you, tell me where she is, and I walk away. You walk away. I walk away. That's beautiful, Johnny.
Vaya con Dios, Max.